actually trust refurbished tech stores? On the channel, we've looked at a ton of these at this point, but today we're doing something a little bit different. I am pitting 3 of the biggest online tech refurbished stores, Gazelle, Backmarket, and Rebello, head to head, where I'm going to be buying items from all 3 stores, evaluating the condition of those items, and then selling it right back to that store to see if, first of all, they agree with the condition they sold it to me in, and second of all, what kind of value I get. Buckle up, my friends, because I'm going to be lighting some money on fire, and hopefully, learning something. Let's start out with Backmarket. I would say they're one of the most trusted online refurbishers that I have actually tried. So I'm gonna buy an iPhone 12 from each of the 3 stores. The problem is that every store does this a little differently. Do I want a gently used screen or a flawless screen? I want a flawless screen and an almost flawless body. I mean, I do have an almost flawless body. I am going to spend $215 for a iPhone 12 64GB black model with a standard battery, which should be 80% plus, an almost flawless body, and a flawless screen. Now, the other thing I want to do for each store is buy a just random item to get a little bit of a sense for what values you're going to get if you're not just buying and selling an iPhone 12. Retro, okay, how dare you put a PSP and call it retro?
It is.
It's not! How about laptops? Let's look for a cheap laptop. This is a MacBook Pro 16-inch from 2019. Ken, how much would you pay for a 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro?
$800.
$347.
Wait, really?
This is a Core i7, so it's a slightly older model, of course. Boy, they're gonna take $50 for the trade-in on this. All right, with my items from Backmarket in the cart, let me check out and see exactly what we're gonna be getting with our first store. So let's see how our beautiful Backmarket items have arrived safe and sound. I'm not even gonna breathe on these things. First up, we've got ourselves an actual package, which moderately well packed. Okay, I'm about that. Battery health 100%. Oh, that's actually really lovely if that's actually true. All right, now I gotta just make sure that I am treating these things with the respect they deserve, and I wanna give them no reason to ding me. You get like the light catch it just right. There's a lot of scuffs right here on the corner of the phone. But importantly, none of this is actually enough to like make it to like the anodized finish. I'll say for the body, yeah, almost flawless. Now, perfect screen. Let's take a look at that. Well, snap, that's actually a pretty perfect screen. I mean, obviously you need to turn it on, but tentative pass, I will say. Like, that actually is quite nice. Yeah, honestly, no.
The downside.
Backmarket actually seems to have delivered us a very, very high quality device here. I'm seeing really no reason to ding them. All right, so the phone is set up. The first thing I want to try is to check to see if the battery life is in fact 100% or at the very least above 80 like they claim. Battery health, 100%. On top of that, it doesn't show as a third-party battery. Most of the time when you replace an iPhone battery, it actually does flag it as a non-authentic battery. That's legitimately great. Like, I would pay quite a bit more money for a phone with a 100% battery compared to something like 80. Quick little camera test to make sure that the camera looks good, the autofocus is working and whatnot, but I think it's pretty safe to say that the Backmarket iPhone 12 gets a huge thumbs up for quality. Actually really, really solid. Next up, let us evaluate the MacBook that we have purchased from Backmarket. And refresh me again on this one. What was the condition that they specifically called out for this?
This is in fair condition.
Fair. Wow, what the hell happened there? I haven't gotten it out yet. Look at this, just literally just carnage on the side. Oh, and there's a dent on the top too. Yeah, fair is usually pretty, like it works. The end is kind of the usual way they describe that. I'm gonna take off the white gloves for this one. This one does not deserve the white gloves. It buckled. It's gonna be kind of hard to see unless you see it in the light, but the entire bottom of the actual screen buckled. Okay, hinge feels fine. Okay, all right, I'm not mad. There's definitely some dirt on the actual speakers here and around the keyboard, so it looks like they kind of cleaned it up, but not really. There's also some like dirt here. Oh, sorry, I'll just put that back. We do have 16 gigs of RAM. We have 512 gigs of storage. Let's take a look at the battery. Oh, 209 cycle count. That's actually really solid. Let me do a quick little typing test just to make sure that all of my keys are actually functional. Cool, yeah, no problem with this. So we did get a pretty reasonable deal on this MacBook, right?
We paid $347.
Look, I bought a couple of Intel Macs the last few months, and I'll say that Apple Silicon clearly an improvement. However, I don't think anyone can argue this is not a lot of computer for less than $400. It is still fully supported by macOS for at least hopefully another year or so. It could be better, but I'm curious to see what some of the other stores are going to have in store. Get it? Next up, let's purchase some technology from Reebelo. Now Reebelo, while they're maybe not quite as big as Backmarket, they still have a pretty good selection of devices. iPhone 12. So it does say starting from 192. Every store is going to do this a little differently. So for Reebelo, I have 4 choices. Excellent will have minor scratches and minor signs of wear. I think excellent sounds like what we're looking for. They do tell me that I get a standard battery, which I believe is 80%. We're going to be paying $213, which is exactly $1 more than Backmarket charge. Now, while I'm here, let's take a look at some other stuff. $600 for a used latte machine? A lot of iPhones here. Oh, those are all the deals. Should we do a Z Flip? I feel like Z Flips are like the perfect example of a phone that is potentially in questionable condition that they would just sell you as like new. This is a Bora Purple 128 gig unlocked phone for $269 in excellent condition. So with their iPhone and Z Flip in the cart, let's take a closer look at what Reebelo has to offer. I'm sure this is gonna go super, super well, and I believe that this is our Reebelo iPhone. At least it feels like, that feels like an iPhone, right? I would prefer to see an actual box or something with a little more padding.
So Reebelo describes excellent as on the screen, minor scratches that are barely noticeable when the screen is off, and on the body itself, minor signs of wear and light scratches invisible from a 12-inch distance.
Oh yeah, I remember Reebelo, they call out the 12-inch thing. I remember I had a ruler on my damn forehead last time. It didn't help. First of all, they've taped over the cameras for some reason. That's strange. Holy Toledo, Batman, that is scratched as hell on the screen. They said that you're not supposed to be able to see this very well. Gloves coming off. You don't deserve the gloves. Oh my God, these stickers that leave residue. Why would you do this? I got it off. Ugh. Great. The body of the phone is fine. I'll fire it up and see if it looks a little bit better once it's actually on, but excellent, absolutely not. This is a phone that I'm gonna trade into them in excellent condition and they're gonna absolutely knock it down. Now, scratches here. I see some of those scratches here. Let's take a look at the battery. The health is 100%. That's actually really lovely because Reebelo only claims 80% or more. To be fair, an iPhone 12 battery is very cheap at this point, but I'm intrigued at how this as well as the Backmarket phone are both showing up as a first-party battery, or at least the phone is not detecting it being a third-party battery. Front-facing camera. And there's a little check to make sure that the camera and specifically the video is working, which it seems to be looking fine. The overall condition of the phone, totally acceptable. The fact that it is a good battery is great. My issue is the screen. The screen is quite heavily scuffed. It is not barely noticeable at 12 inches, whatever. Like I'm like right here. I can see the scratches. Reebelo, at least for the iPhone, this ain't looking too good. Next up, let's take a look at what should be our Reebelo Z Flip. Now, you'll probably know that I'm a dude who has evaluated a Z Flip or two in my day. Now this one was in good condition, fair condition?
Excellent
condition. At least the packaging is better. It is in an envelope and in a bubble wrapped box. I don't know why, something just feels menacing about when you put on gloves.
You could just be cleaning up in general.
Or it's cold out.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Oh yeah, gloves work for your hands for normal circumstances too. I only use them after nefarious things. Anyway, so it does show as 96% battery health, which is very lovely. A lot of scuffs on the top part of the glass. So this is all glass here on a Z Flip, but this is matte, and I'll say that the matte finish actually takes scratches pretty well. Ooh, there is a huge scratch right across the camera lens. 3 of the 4 corners are kind of scuffed. So I think what happened was that the phone was probably closed, fell like this because there's sort of matching scuff marks on this and all up and down on the cameras. Yeah, excellent, really. Some of the finish on the edges here, it's actually worn off. Like it's not even scratched, like it's just worn straight off. A little bit on the sides here too. So they've removed the screen protector, which I don't like to see, but probably because it was all scuffed. So I guess my main questions would be making sure that the screen is fully functional, it looks nice, and then making sure that the ultra-wide camera is also fully up and running. I'm not happy with this, if I'm honest with you. Excellent, like next to no, cosmetic damage, blah, blah, blah. Like that's just not what we're looking at here. So I'm gonna take a photo on the 1X, and then we're gonna use the ultra-wide. So this is a video sample from the main sensor on the Z Flip, which should look fine. But now I'm gonna flip over to the ultra wide and let's see if we can find any of those imperfections with that lens. I'm actually gonna go ahead and step specifically into this light, and I'm immediately saying, do you kind of see some of the haloing here? Do you see how it looks kind of soft? Move over to the 1X, look at that, look, it's almost gone, right? I don't know if I would say that this is something that a lot of people are gonna notice, if I'm being entirely honest with you, but this is a functional issue with the phone. This ain't it. Next up, our good old friend Gazelle. So they've actually completely rebranded their website, as well as they got a shiny new logo compared to the last time I looked at it. Gazelle are one of the very few companies who actually reached out after I did my video, and they wanted to try to improve things. Let's see if they made some improvements compared to last time. And the very first thing I see, iPhone 12 unlocked for 64 gigabytes. I would say let's try good, which is the screens are in very good condition with light scuffs. And at $227, that is a little bit more expensive than the other two. However, let's take a look. Good condition, iPhone 12, 64 gig in the cart. Next, let's see about other devices. So they got a Stampede sale. I'm gonna Stampede my way down to pick up an iPhone 13. That's it, what? Let's take a look at iPads and maybe like a Pixel. Ooh, some of these prices are bad. They want almost $560 for Pixel 9? Ooh, oh, that's some of these, ugh. An iPad 10 for $435? Okay, so the iPad 9, while it's got the older school design, still has like a relatively decent chip inside. $210 does not strike me as a particularly good deal though. So, sure. So with my iPhone as well as iPad in the cart, let's take a look at what Gazelle have to offer. But while I'm here, I'm also gonna pick up one additional device, which we're gonna save for, well, let's just say Gazelle is not quite as straightforward as the other sites. Why does this package say it weighs 1 pound? I mean, I know I'm incredibly strong and handsome, but not a 1 pound box. Anyway, so this should be our iPhone 12. Nice packaging, I will say. Gazelle has some actual foam in here. Back, actually, I will say, out of all three, this is the cleanest one. The camera lenses are importantly clean. There's some minor little scuffs by the power button, but I mean, absolutely clean as heck. And the screen itself is also very good. Wow, this is an excellent quality device. I don't want to necessarily, oh, that's almost dead, so I need to plug it in. Assuming the battery is good, cameras work and everything, this is actually looking like the best conditioned phone we've got here. So battery health is 100%. Hold on, did we really get 3 iPhone 12s, all from different companies who claimed 80% or better, and they're all brand new, supposedly first-party batteries? Especially because we didn't pay for a brand new battery. So, a little camera test of our Gazelle iPhone 12. I mean, look, I will say that while the Backmarket iPhone looked really good, this is just better. Now, mind you, it was $10 more, and the condition actually made it seem worse, but it is absolutely flawless on the outside, and it has the brand new battery. I'm surprised to say that this is actually a really pretty high quality device. Next up from Gazelle, we have an iPad. I don't know why I didn't realize this, but iPads that are still supported on iPadOS still have a lot of value. So this is an iPad 9th generation, which was also in good condition, right?
Yes, this was $210.
A lot of money. Let's take a look. I feel like I've put on and taken off the gloves a lot today. The body of the device, pretty clean. Yeah, there's some minor little wear and tears, some minor scuffs. There's a little scratch here, but it's on the bezel, I don't care. Very, very solid, like really, really nice looking. All right, we're into iPadOS. The screen looks to be totally fine. It's really a difficult thing to double check the actual battery. I have to trust their word that this is a new-ish battery. Over here, take a selfie. Look at how wide the front-facing camera on the iPad is. This is like their center stage camera, right? I didn't think that the iPad 9 had this.
They have an 8 megapixel wide camera.
That's actually pretty good. I will say, I am very pleasantly surprised by Gazelle. This is significantly better than the last time we took a look at them. So now it is time to trade our devices in. Now, importantly, I'm not going to be returning any of these devices. Instead, I am trading it in just as if I had a random iPhone on the shelf that I wanted to send in to Backmarket and get some cash for. Now, there are a couple things I'm looking for here. Theoretically, if I bought something in excellent shape, it should also grade as excellent. On top of that, I want to see what kind of values I can get. So if I bought an item for $200, obviously no one's gonna give me $200 to buy it back. But are they gonna give me $150, $100, $50? Let's find out. All right, so we're gonna start with Backmarket with their trade-in. How does the screen look? So we have 4 options: cracked, used, good, or flawless. Flawless screen, because that's what they sold it to me as, so we'll see. Now, if I remember right, it was good condition for the body, right?
It was almost flawless for the body.
Wait, almost flawless? Well, that's not one of my options.
I think the play should be to go higher because people would always want to put it in for more money anyway. They're going to evaluate you anyway, right?
Sure. Now, for context, I paid $212 for this iPhone. For Backmarket, we get $130. Okay, that's fine. I think they're probably gonna ding me like 10 bucks, whatever, on the sides. I'm selling it in as close of condition as I bought it in, so I will accept the offer. Next up, let's trade in our MacBook Pro. I purchased this laptop in Fair, which, clearly had some cosmetic issues, but they're asking me first about screen. I gotta get a little creative here because there's nothing about the screen that was mentioned when I purchased it. I would actually say the screen is pretty much flawless, right? There was no problem with the screen. The problems are with the body. How do the sides and back look? Okay, so I bought it in fair condition. I will say used, which would be visible signs of wear, including deep scratches and or dents on the outside of the device, which do not affect its functionality. No cracks. So I purchased this laptop for $347, and my offer is $241. You know what? I'm gonna say Backmarket's offers, if they actually come through and they don't ding me, are pretty reasonable. All right, next up, let's take a look at Rebello. Let's start out with iPhone 12. Starting out with, what is my storage capacity? 128 gigs.
We got 64 for everything.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
Condition of the screen.
So they call excellent as on the screen minor scratches that are barely noticeable when the screen is off.
Okay, well then minor scratches seems like the way to do that. How about the back and the corners?
Minor signs of wear and light scratches invisible from 12-inch distance.
Okay. What I'm seeing so far is that there's not a great level of consistency between what you're buying and what you're selling as far as how they describe these conditions. I'm actually gonna go back. I'm actually gonna say the back is in flawless condition. So I spent $213 on the phone, and they are going to give me $165?
Are you sure you got that one right this time?
Yes. That seems suspiciously high. Next, let's do our Z Flip. So it was a flawless screen. So I'm gonna just try to keep it consistent with the iPhone. I'm gonna say minor scratches. So I paid $269 for this. My trade-in offer is $164. Okay, that feels a little bit more like it. Maybe Rebello just really wants some iPhone 12s. Next up, let's take a look at Gazelle. Fast, easy, safe. I hope so. So here are the iPhones that they will accept. So I'm gonna pick up my iPhone 12. First question, does it turn on? Actually, I'm glad they asked that first because for all the other stores go, is it flawless condition? Perfect, perfect, perfect. And at the end go, does it work? And you can say no. I will say yes to all of these answers. When we inspect your device, if it's in better condition than you thought, we'll increase your offer. So after spending $227 on my phone, my Gazelle offer is $100. You know what's also crazy? Damaged or broken is $72 and the lightly used is $100. iPad. And the overall condition of this one, I think should probably also be lightly used. I bought this iPad for, I don't remember.
$210.
I bought this iPad for $210. Thanks, Alex. Anyone want to take a guess on what they're gonna give me?
$100.
$100?
99.
$71.
I think you're gonna be spot on there. $90! Actually, I think, no wait,
Yeah.
you were closest, right? All right.
Technically.
All right, so it is time to ship our devices in to Backmarket, Gazelle, and Rebello to see exactly what values and conditions we get. But while we wait for those to arrive and get our lovely V-Bucks in return, we have one mystery item that's gonna require us to take a bit of a field trip. Let me introduce you, my friends, to EcoATM. So this is the same company as Gazelle. So while Gazelle focuses on buying and selling stuff online, EcoATM is a physical in-person kiosk that you'll find at places such as grocery stores, Walmarts, malls. In my opinion, a lot of devices that come to Gazelle actually come from EcoATM. So I've purchased one additional iPhone 12 for this experiment. So this is the same 64 gig iPhone 12 that we've been using as our control phone, except I did get it in green just so it would be a little different. It is also in good condition, and I bought this from Gazelle for $233. Now I'll say that the condition is pretty accurate. There's a pretty deep scratch right here on the actual display, and it barely squeaks in with only 81% capacity on the battery. So let's head inside this Walmart. Put this in the EcoATM. Let's see if it's actually a better idea to drop it off in person, or if they give me somehow even less. All right, what do I want to do? Enter a code if you've already done online, recycle to just to get rid of it, or price and sell. I want to do that. You don't want to be in this category. Oh, I already get a label. Ooh. Oh, and the cable's actually already there. Okay, that's cool. Bye, little buddy. See you later. It actually seems to do a pretty good job of just making this a very seamless, like, easy process. Oh, hey. Oh, no. Well, I guess we've learned something today. I feel like I definitely turned $230 into $83 about as fast as if I was in Las Vegas. Are they trying to upsell me on like a payday loan or something right now? That was the phone. That was the phone. Well, it was in good condition. Is it paying me $5 bills right now? I think it paid me $5 bills. I have an idea where we could take a bunch of $5 bills. What are we going for? I should have probably looked before I put my money in.
Shadow.
Shadow? Dude, he's too far away. I don't think so.
No.
You think so?
I got you.
Okay. It does actually look pretty good.
Oh, no, it's a scam.
$82. We got $82. There is an advantage, to be fair, of getting your cash now. I don't have to wait. So I actually just this morning dropped off all of our packages to go to Backmarket, Gazelle, and Rebello. And that process is gonna take a week probably, maybe 2 weeks. That being said, I bought this one for 230 bucks and gave it back to them at 83. Not great. But hopefully, you're learning some valuable lessons about financial decisions, and importantly, deciding to subscribe to the Austin Evans channel and ring-a-ling the ding-a-ling button for some high-quality investigative journalism, like, why are there a bunch of toothpicks in the middle of this Walmart parking lot? And so, my friends, it is time to bring this video to a conclusion by taking a look to see what happened with each of the stores after we shipped in our items. So with Backmarket, specifically with our iPhone 12, we purchased for $212. They gave us an offer of $130, and once they evaluated the item, they gave us $130. No notes, they accepted it, no question. Immediately we take a turn for the worst. So we bought our MacBook from Backmarket for $347. Now they gave us an offer of $241 for the trade-in. When they received it, they said that, quote, the screen is cracked. And instead of $241, they offered us $120. Does anyone have a reaction to that?
What? But we specifically, but we shipped it back to them in the exact shipping that they sent it to us.
They did take some photos of the damage, but the damage was the exact damage that it had when I bought it. When I denied it, they immediately said, yep, no problem, we'll ship it back to you. That does not look like it's flickering or cracked to me. Well, so they clearly did set it up because they made an admin account which has no password on it. What?
Try 1, 2, 3, 4.
It actually is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
Okay. I think, can we all just look at this and say that that is not cracked and not flickering? Right? Is that pretty fair to say?
That looks fine.
I think what we've got here is just a case of they saw this damage and they just said, oh, that needs to be replaced. They didn't want to resell it. Maybe don't sell it to me with this dent. Which brings us to Rebello. So the iPhone 12 that we purchased from Rebello for $213 initially had a almost surprisingly high offer of $165, by far the highest offer of any of the iPhone 12s we bought. Well, once they received it, they gave me a counter offer of $100 because it was, quote, used. And to be fair, it was a little bit scuffed, but I was just trying to trade in the same kind of condition that I bought it in. That's not the worst part though. We also traded in our Z Flip 4, which I will remind you I purchased from Rebello for $269. And they quoted me $164. They counteroffered me when they received it and looked at the condition at $47.
Whoa.
Not $147, $47. It was, quote, damaged with an aftermarket frame. I don't know what they mean by an aftermarket frame. I don't think you can even easily swap the frame on a Z Flip. It certainly did not look aftermarket to me.
You mean the $269 excellent condition phone that they sold us?
Yeah, it's actually a complete pile of junk and is completely unsellable. Rebello gets the biggest of hell no's that I could possibly give. Now, when it comes to Gazelle, when you look at our iPhone 12, we purchased it for $227 in good condition, and we got an offer of $100. And once they actually got the phone, well, we got $100. No notes, they accepted it, no problem. Last but not least, we have our iPad 9th generation, which we purchased for $210 from Gazelle. They gave us an offer of $90, and The final total was $90. So what are our conclusions here? Well, everything was kind of bad. Backmarket was kind of the best. The MacBook situation was bad, but at the very least, I could say no, I didn't actually lose anything because they paid for shipping both there and back. And they did legitimately give us a lot more for our iPhone than any of the other stores. Rebello absolutely ripped us off. Gazelle was fine, although the offers were very low, but at least it was a seamless experience. Maybe refurbishers, if I could give you a word of advice, if you sell me a device in great condition and then I trade it in, you try to tell me it's not in great condition, hey, maybe don't do that. I'm curious. What do you think about this very lengthy trade-in investigation? Would you use any of these companies, or should I instead bring my phones to GameStop and get some V-Bucks for them?
That's what Steve Jobs died for.
That is the most final line of a video I've ever heard in my life.